Hello, Maverick fans. Welcome to another edition of the Mavpuckcast with Jason.
And John.
Thanks again for tuning in on another snowy week for us here.
It only snows in Omaha when we're getting ready to do the podcast, so
every kid in Omaha apparently wants us to move our recording schedule to Mondays, right?
yeah, and I think the next one is going to be recorded on a weekday, so you're welcome, children of Omaha.
Yeah, when you get a snow day, throw some thanks this way.
That's right.
So, the usual start to ours. What are we drinking? What do you got today, John?
I have Dr. Jekyll Pepper Elixir, referred to on the bottle as a devilishly delightful soda. And the reason I got this is because at times this season, our team has been like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You're not quite sure which Maverick team you're going to get. But I picked this up at Mangelson's here in Omaha, so we'll give it a shot.
How is it? Fizzy?
I don't know. It doesn't have a lot of flavor. I mean, it kind of tastes like, sort of like watered down cough syrup, to be honest with you.
There's some advertising for you.
Yeah. But, we'll drink this to see if we can get the Jekyll and Hyde kind of curse off of our team.
That would be nice,
That's
especially
right.
with what we're up against.
That's right. Again, this coming weekend.
Well, I went back to the hard liquor. The reason being Patrick Newell is the top scorer for St. Cloud. And since we discovered that Johnny Walker seemed to work when we had our Arizona State series, Patrick is from Thousand Oaks, California. And so rather than hunt down a Minnesota beer or something, I went with a drink that apparently California is known for called the Tequila Sunset.
Okay.
So for those like John who don't drink and maybe don't know, it's orange juice, tequila, and grenadine.
Okay.
It tastes like they threw a bunch of stuff in a glass and I have to drink it. Hey, it's not, I'll drink it. It's not my favorite. But
Is it a little
looks
too
pretty.
Is it a little too fruity for you?
It kind of is. I didn't have my orange juice this morning, so I do like the fact that I get my orange juice. But...
See, Bridget's a huge Roy Rogers fan, so Coke with just massive, copious amounts of grenadine is like her thing. So, but yeah, so hopefully, are you trying to curse Patrick Newell here?
We're gonna try to sit him out of this a little bit, and maybe we can
9 goals and 9 assists on the season. So, yeah, it'd be good if we could have a Johnny Walker moment here.
That would be nice.
It's going to be tough, but
they have Nolan Walker on their team, number 20.
Yep.
I might have to go real quick and grab the bottle of Johnny Walker just in case. Maybe we can jinx 2 of them in 1 weekend. You think we can do that? We might have to try that. I'm okay with it. I'll take one for the team.
Well, there's also Easton Brodzinski on the team, so I mean, maybe we should have a ritual burning of an Easton hockey stick if you got one of those.
I got an old one that's broken.
There you
go. Oh man, it's the old Forsberg curve too, which is really squared toe.
Oh, okay.
No twist, big toe hook.
Yeah.
All right, so now we moved on from our drinking segment into random stuff that's in Jason's garage.
That's right.
Let's talk about the games this weekend. We had Cara College, boo, come into class. See, I'm from Denver. I have no reason to like this team. They came in. We got a win in the shootout. So a tie for NCAA purposes, but a win for NCHC purposes.
Correct. And people continue to get confused about that. So let's just say for the NCAA, the way it is it's, regulation. And then if it's tied after regulation, a 5-minute overtime.
5-on-5. 5-minute 5-on-5 specifically. Yeah.
And whatever the score is after that is the final total of the game. So
for the purposes of
your overall
rankings that we can't say yet.
Yes, for the purposes of the pairwise rankings and your overall record.
You said it.
I did say it.
Connor, he said it.
Yeah, Connor's going to be upset, but that's tough. So that's the thing. So the 3-on-3 overtime period, if it's tied after 5 and we're playing an NCHC play, then it goes to a 3-on-3 overtime period for 5 minutes.
Right.
And then if it's still tied after that, then it goes to a sudden death shootout.
Right.
So that is done in order to award an extra conference points. If you win in the 3-on-3 period, you get an extra point. If you win the shootout, you get an extra point. Regardless, if it's tied after that first overtime period.
So for NCHC, just to clarify for all the listeners, for NCHC play only.
Only in conference play.
If you win in regulation, you get 3 points. Loser gets nothing.
Correct.
If you win in the 5-on-5 overtime, you get 3 points. Loser gets nothing.
Correct.
If you win in the 3-on-3 overtime or in the shootout, you get 2 points. The loser gets 1 point.
1 point, yes.
Okay. So.
And it only, the point totals only mean something in conference play. So, yeah.
Once it gets past the 5-on-5 overtime,
it's a tie.
For the purpose of NCAA hockey,
it is a tie.
It's a tie.
Probably, there are probably many reasons for this, but it would probably make, I mean, you'd have to kind of reconfigure the pairwise if you were taking in another,
Yeah, oh, and RPI, because you wouldn't have your RPI rankings the same.
So that always confuses people because, we'll be celebrating either the, a win in the 3-on-3 period or in that shootout period. And then they're like, hey, we won the game. And it's like, well, no, we won the tie.
Yeah, we won the tie. So Friday we skate to a tie. They go to 3-on-3. No one scores. We go to overtime or to the shootout, right?
Right.
And I saw this on a couple of the boards, so I think we should probably clear this up now that we've actually seen it too, is that the home team gets to decide, are they going to shoot first or shoot second? It's kind of like college football overtime in the sense that both teams get the puck once. They both get a chance.
Right.
If the result is the same, either 2 goals or 2 misses, we go again.
Right.
1 score, 1 no score, game's over, whoever scores wins.
Right, whoever gets the goal at that point. Sure.
So, I know from an NHL standpoint, when the NHL does shootouts and stuff, most of the coaches believe that it's best to go first, to put the pressure on the other team to get that first goal.
Sure.
Is a significant, I guess, mental advantage. So I think Gabs went that way, and I don't know. There was some like I could see Gabnet talking to Evan. So I wonder if there was a little bit of the like, you're a net, you get to decide. Do you want to try to make the save first, or do you want to?
Well, yeah, and it's kind of like the college football overtime, where sometimes the theory is, well, if you put your defense out there first, maybe then if you stop them, then
it gives your offense a boost or
sure.
something. Yeah, I think I kind of like that. If that is, if what I saw is really the way it kind of went down, I think I like that from Gabnet, because really the pressure is on Evan after Morelli went for UNO.
Right.
And the pressure is really on Evan after that point in time, because if Morelli misses, you have to make a save. Yeah. Otherwise, we're done. It's all on you. And I think there's more pressure on the goaltender in those situations than there is on the forwards.
On the skater?
Yeah, because I think the skaters, they control the puck the whole way in. And there's so much that they can dictate, as opposed to a goaltender, which really is reacting to everything they see.
Right. Yeah, it was interesting because the Colorado College player, when he was skating in, he kind of got the sense he wasn't quite sure what he was going to do with the puck.
Yeah, I don't really know what. I get I know.
We've seen that before. Yeah.
Like, why did he skate so slow? I'm like, well,
they do that.
All right, I can say I've done that. And we were talking. I can't remember if it was us at the game or not, but we were talking about someone from UNO used to go like literally way out to the boards and skate straight down. And
I believe that was we were talking on Twitter about that with and Recovering Ops actually clarified that was Jake Randolph did that when he did the shootout goals, and there was a particular goal, and it's on YouTube of him at Duluth where he went like way out, and it was kind of his little shake and bake move that he did. But sometimes they do that, and it works.
It can.
sometimes, but not.
It's a patient plays.
Yeah.
Alex Tanguay. I remember when he was with Calgary. He used to do it for the Avs, but there wasn't that many opportunities to do it back in the day when he played for the Avalanche. But when he went to Calgary, that's when the NHL had instituted the shootout format to end games so that they didn't have ties anymore. And I remember he used to do, like, he cut, it wasn't really dramatic, but he did take a pretty cut line
Right.
to the net, and his hands, I mean, he could just like outweight any goaltender. I mean, he got to the point where you're thinking he's done and gone. He's behind the net,
Yeah.
and it's somehow he can like ping it off the far post and in, and it's so.
Yeah, if you're going to be clever like that, you got to make sure you know what you're doing. So
you have to have pretty good hands too.
Oh, absolutely.
I thought it was interesting in the press conference. Morelli mentioned that he was a little surprised that he got the nod. He said that the guys we went to practice and we saw them end the session of practice this way, where they did some breakaway kinds of things.
Sure.
And he's like, it's usually the guys like Tyler and
I was going to say, it would have been really
Timu
interesting to see what Tyler did on that. Yeah. But I would tell you what, Mason Morelli, one of the seniors who's had a really good month. The last month has been good. Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of interesting to see.
Smart kid. He knew that his play is a shot.
Yep.
And so he's going to take a shot, and he went in just, find his spot and then pick his spot. And I think that's the difference between them. I mean, sometimes you want the guy that has the hands that can make the moves and jive with the puck, right? Where sometimes you just need the guy that's going to go in, find an open spot and just
put the
pick
puck
it clean.
Put the puck on net.
Yep.
Yeah, so it was a very that game was a completely interesting game because the first half of the first period we looked like we were going to roll.
Oh, for like 10, 11 minutes of the first half, we're up 2-0.
We're looking really good. We feel comfortable.
We've got their number. It's going to be awesome. And then
they get a goal late in the first period.
Late. Yeah.
Colorado College did, and they kind of controlled play the rest of the way.
Yeah. Yeah, we seem like a different team after Burke scored on the power play.
Yep.
And we'll get, I don't know, maybe this is when we get into this, the reffing. Because that was one of those calls that I'm like, it's just not right. It was a terrible call, and there were a lot of those terrible calls.
Now, I know Bridget posted this link on the Mavpuck Facebook group, and she also put it on the message board, but the NCAA changed its procedure regarding major penalties this year.
Right.
So can you explain that a little bit for us?
So the rule change as it's written in the NCAA is that when you're ejecting a player, it's the discretion of the referees as to whether or not they want to use video review to determine whether or not that is warranted.
Okay.
So the referees still have the ability to see the play on ice and say, nope, that's it, you're ejected, for whatever reason it is.
Okay.
It seems like most of them are saying,
it seems like they're
we're going to make this call on this kid, we're going to go back and take another look just to be absolutely sure.
It seems like they're just they're going to, that's kind of become what we've seen early this season so far is that that's kind of the default position is we're just going to review. If in doubt, we're going to review.
And I'm okay with that part. I don't know how you feel about it, but for me, like, I think, these kids are developing and things happen, and sometimes, it looks worse than it really was. And I see this a lot with the head contact thing, and we saw this last season a lot. And I think that's part of the reason why they brought it in is that they throw a kid out for contact to the head, but then when you watch the replay, there was no contact to the head. It's just the way the head moved in the check that made you think that maybe they got hit in the head.
It's a difficult thing to say. I mean, my personal thing is I would rather have fewer replays because I think it hurts the ebb and flow of the game.
Or put them on a time limit because some of those things are really
they go
flipping
on and
long.
on and on, and you're just sitting there and I just worry that the default could potentially be to err on the side of calling a 5-minute major or worse. Just
The thing that I have the biggest problem with is, and it happened to us. It's happened to us multiple times, but it
right,
happened again on Friday. Uh, there was normal run of the mill contact in front of the net,
right,
and after the contact, the Cara College player had fallen down, and I'm watching. I saw it. I don't know why I was looking in that area at that time, but I was looking up to see that he fell. He came down pretty hard on his shoulders and his head on the ice.
okay.
Okay, and he's laying there. It was really interesting. Evan actually came out and
I
checked
saw that.
on him,
Evan
and then
came.
Evan
I did
waved
see
at
that.
the
Yeah, Evan
CC
came and he kind of waved at
players.
them because he was down on the ice for a while, right there, kind of in the
Right.
slot area.
Right.
Yep.
And so that was pretty shocking that Evan came out and signaled him like, you have to get out and take care of this kid.
Right.
So there was no call. I mean, play had gone on for a while.
Yeah, play had
he was
gone
laying
on
the
yeah.
ice for a while.
Yeah, no,
while
he was.
both
Yeah,
teams had possession,
and you'll see that during the ebb and
Right.
flow of a game. Yeah.
yeah. So all this goes on, and they blow the whistle, and then all of a sudden the refs are going into the box to review something, and I'm like, you didn't call a penalty.
Yeah, what are we reviewing?
Like, what are we looking at? And see, that's the one that I have a problem with, because
Right.
if we're in this position now where referees can essentially overrule themselves and go into the box and take a look at a play that you originally didn't think there was anything on,
Right.
and then luckily they didn't say, I mean, they didn't come back and give anyone anything. But if they had, like, if they come out and said, oh, yep, nope, now there's a penalty. Like, that's just wrong. Like, that's not the reason for video review. Video review is there to say, we think we saw something. Let's confirm that
Right.
what we saw was there. You didn't see anything. Why are you going back and looking for something?
No, exactly right. And I mean, I just think it has the potential where we just start becoming nitpicky about everything and micromanaging the game
Right.
too much. At the end of the game, people are coming, at the end of the day, not at the end of the game. At the end of the day, people are coming to watch hockey. They want to see that ebb and flow.
Right.
They want to see a good back and forth game. I prefer to watch even strength hockey because I think it's more interesting a lot of times than, watching your team on the power
Right.
play or the penalty kill. I would like for them to preserve the integrity of the game as opposed to, I just feel like a lot more stuff has gotten called this year. And I don't think, our team suddenly became a bunch of goons. I mean, how many player ejections have we had this season?
4.
That's crazy. I mean, that's something you rarely see.
That's a season for us.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
That's something you feel like you rarely see throughout a season. And it just seems like we've seen it a lot already.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of things that to me, I think are, it's lopsided. It was Arizona State, right?
Right.
When they ran Evan.
Yeah.
And I went back and looked at the video of it, and the guy comes through the crease, elbows up into Evan. Clearly, his elbow hit Evan in the head.
Right.
So why didn't we go back and review that and eject that player for contact to the head?
No, it's hard because as they're dealing with this, rule
Right.
change, it starts to feel arbitrary, and then it starts to make your play. I think it starts to make your players a little bit more
Hesitant,
gun
right?
shy,
Yeah.
or they start over analyzing too much what they do, and I just think it affects the psyche of the team. And again, I'm not blaming our success or failure on the refs. I'm just saying,
Well, but Friday's an example of where the referees, I think, were too involved in the game,
they were too noticeable.
in the result of the game.
Right.
Because even though we were a little bit more on our heels in the first period after our 2 goals,
Right.
we were still doing pretty well.
We were.
And what led to the power play goal for Cara College was the tripping call on Conley,
Right.
which this is one of those things, like, if you're going to use review, this is one you need to use review on, because it's very clear that the Cara College goaltender had lost his stick. His stick was it wasn't in his hands. It was laying basically the side of the net, right?
Right.
And the Connolly takes the puck away, the Colorado College player steps on his own goalie's loose stick and falls down, and Conley gets the penalty.
I know.
And it was obvious.
It's
like,
crazy,
watch the
yeah.
video, and I'm sitting here going, I was watching it live going, that's not tripping on us.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, and it's just, and it led to their goal. It gave them life. It gave them a chance.
Like I said, I think it's, and again, the NCAA does this stuff because, they want to protect players,
right,
keep players safe. But it's like anything, it's like the old adage goes, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I mean, it's just, it's one of those things. I just feel like, and you and I are not people, because I know both of us, because I've, had conversations with both of us.
Right.
And I can tell you, we are not people who tend to get really high or low on the officiating during a hockey game. But I just feel like it's become more of a factor this season, and not in a good way.
Yeah, I really don't like it. I don't like it when people just kind of,
It drives
their
me
go-to
nuts.
thing is the refs suck, and that's why
That
we
drives
win
me
the game.
absolutely nuts. No.
I'm like, no, they're playing the game. The most of the time, I would say it's the players on the ice that are the reason why you win or lose. But this weekend is the first time I can remember where I've said, quite honestly, the referees are probably more the reason that we had trouble. And I know that no one else will say it. It's
Right.
one of those things like, you're not going to have any of the players, and Coach Gabinet's not going to get up there
No,
and
they'll be very,
say anything about
they'll
it.
be very diplomatic about it. But I agree with you, and I'm hoping that as the season kind of wears along, that things will kind of sort of settle down a little bit in that regard. But I just, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's odd. We talked about this. Colorado College came into Baxter Arena as the second most penalized team in the country in both the number of penalties per game and the amount of time that they spend in the box per game.
Right.
And they only take 5 on the weekend.
I know.
They were averaging more than 5 a game coming in.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, but it's just not. I cannot believe that they suddenly figured it out in the few practices that they had leading into our series.
No.
And there was plenty that should have been called.
Right.
Saturday was fairly lopsided. Unfortunately, Colorado College came out hot. Evan kind of needed to make some beyond routine. I wouldn't say amazing saves, but
Right.
they weren't routine stuff. And there were a couple that he probably should have stopped that went in, unfortunately. And Colorado College jumps out to an early 4-goal lead, and
It was hard for us to recover from that.
I mean, we weren't passing the puck well. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we weren't doing well.
It was like we said, after that first period on Friday, they kind of
Right.
got sloppy again, and started to make some of the kind of mental mistakes that they.
And then in the third period of Saturday's game, that's when I really kind of like, these refs are just clearly, I don't know if they're not paying attention or if they're just focused on other things, but there's 2 instances where I thought you had a chance as a referee to make the right call, which is, number one, there was a scuffle on the ice between a couple players.
Right.
They were pushing and shoving. It wasn't anything major. I mean, the linesmen had come in to try to, separate the players and stuff. 2 Colorado College players came off of the bench and over and into that scrum. They were pushing, they were shoving, they were involved.
Okay.
They had 8 players on the ice at that point in time.
I did not know. I was not counting players when I was looking at the ice.
And most people, like, it's not a big deal because you come on for the change. But the rules specifically state that you cannot come off the bench and get involved in altercation. It's
Right.
an automatic game misconduct.
Right.
Those 2 players should have been thrown out of the game. And there was 2 of them. It wasn't just one guy that had come off the bench.
Okay.
And it should have been obvious when they finally got the team separated that, hey, there's more Colorado College players here than there are UNO players.
Maybe they should have looked at the video.
Yeah, well, we don't review those things.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the other one was with, I don't know, we had just got the goal. We were 6-3 at that point in time.
Right.
Was probably about 45 seconds left or something.
Yeah.
And challenged the puck over on the Colorado College side, and the puck goes out of play into the bench. And one of the defensemen one of the forwards for Colorado College reaches over onto the ice. He's on the bench. He reaches onto the ice and he grabs the face mask of one of the UNO players and pushes him into the boards and then onto the ground. And I'm thinking, how do you not, like, everything is over there. You have to be looking that direction. How do you not see that the guy on the bench is involved in the altercation on the ice?
I don't know. And again, I don't know. Like I said, it's affecting the ebb and the flow of the games, and I'd rather they let the kids play.
Or either let them play and let some of the ticky-tacky stuff go and really call, like, major stuff, or go the opposite direction and get to the point where you're calling every little thing and get them. I do
not want to see that kind of.
I don't want to see.
That's what I feel like they're trying.
I don't want to see a North Dakota Duluth game where there's 56-hour penalty minutes.
Gosh,
but
I feel like that's what they're trying to do now, and it's like I said, it's killing the integrity of the game.
Let's just play hockey, Link.
Yeah. Now, obviously, in this series, you and I had both picked sweeps. That didn't
work
ultimately come to fruition.
Do we at least count ourselves as halfway there since we won?
Well, I'll tell you, Bridget all last week was saying, I think it's going to be a split. And I'm like, but we just swept Arizona State. And she's like, I know, but it's an NCHC team. NCHC teams are different. NCHC competition is different. And she was right. So we almost had the split. It was a tie, but we it felt like we had the split. But there were some good performances on the weekend. Particular Friday. Riley Alford's been good the last.
He's definitely a guy to shout out right now because he's playing some good hockey.
He's really upped his game this season, and I've been impressed.
Yeah, and Olsen and Morelli's line, at least Olsen and Morelli have been consistently producing, which
they really have.
I know is something that Coach Gabnett needs. Is some guys that you can kind of rely on. He started the weekend putting Conley on that line.
Yeah,
and I think that's good. I like Ward on that line better, and I know Saturday we had that.
I like Ward on that line mainly so on Twitter I can refer to it as the Mo line, the MOW line. So yeah, he did have Conley on Friday. Yeah, he started off on Friday night.
I do like that, the Mo line.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully they keep that together. I mean, Olsen's goal, Ward was an assist on that. Mason's power play goal, Ward was an assist on that on Fridays. And so I think I like Ward on that line better.
Yeah.
Not anything against Conley.
No.
What I really want to see, and I part of the reason why I wonder if we're not seeing it is just because maybe Coach doesn't think that either that Conley can play center or that Weiss is ready to play center.
You want to see Weiss on a line with Spinner.
I want to see Weiss. My preference, if I was, here, Jason putting his coaching hat on,
which
from his
Coach
days,
Jason is going to give us his thoughts on this.
I would put Weiss and Spinner on the wings and put Connolly in the middle. I've seen Connolly take face-offs. I think that he can do it.
Yeah.
I wonder about his mental, is he going to mentally stay put on the defensive zone or not? That would be my concern if I was Gabnett, but I think you can coach him up on that.
I think that's a really intriguing line, actually. I like that idea. Yep.
You have the creativity and the puck handling skills of Weiss. We've got to get Spinner out of this funk. Like, he's
a great player. I know.
Yeah, and he's better than what we've seen.
Absolutely.
I think. And almost, I don't know. It looked like he had a little bit more jump to his step on Saturday.
Yep, definitely.
But I think that putting him with someone, with the vision and then the creativity that Weiss has could really help him out. And I think that the Conley brings, even though it's his first year playing for UNO, we always have to remember that this is not his first year in college hockey.
He's an experienced player.
Yeah, and that experience, I think, could help bring Weiss along. I think that could really help Weiss develop as a college hockey player and as a hockey player in general. So, he's never told me he listens, but if Coach listens, put it together and see if I'm right. And
if he listens, he'll never do it now. But
I know he'll never do it.
And you being the president of Tyler Weiss's fan club, you definitely want to see it. Yeah, you're the one and only member.
If you want to join, and we'll put a link in the
yeah, see TylerWeissFanClub.com.
He signed my poster.
He did. You finally got to meet him at the
at the
Meet the
dinner with
Mavs.
the Mavs. Yeah.
Yeah, dinner
So
with the Mavs.
how about we
Meet the
let's
Mavs
transition to that. Do you have anything more on the game before we transition to dinner with the Mavs?
No, it didn't go the way we wanted to.
Yeah.
Friday night was fun. Saturday night was
Hard to watch.
it felt like the October Mavs again.
Yeah.
But like Gabinette said in the post game presser on Friday, it'll kind of be one step up and two step back
yeah.
with the team.
Yeah, we
And
kind
they
of
have
that.
they have to play a particular way. So yeah, but anyway, Thursday night we went to the Meet the Mavs dinner
Okay.
at Anthony's Steakhouse.
We
You guys
did.
were there. We, it was a buffet meal, and you got a chance to sit at a table with one of the players. Our player was senior goaltender Alex Blankenberg from Michigan, a neat guy. A lot of fun getting the chance to talk to him. He gave us some insights on the team. It's kind of fun talking to the seniors because they've been here for 4 years. You know, they know that their time is coming to an end, and so I think they always seem really appreciative when they get to that point.
And they made it through the change in coaching.
Yep, absolutely.
That's always an interesting perspective on the team.
His brother plays for Michigan, so that kind of maybe reminded me of the old CCHA days for UNO when we would play them every year. But
they lost to Michigan State.
They did lose to Michigan. Yeah. Michigan State was one of my favorite trips when we were in the CCHA, so I didn't mind seeing that at all.
I just thought this Kevin Neubauer is now going to he's going to stop listening now because I just
he's
voted for Michigan State.
Yeah,
right.
he's not going to be happy about that. So yeah,
Sorry,
it was a fun time. Yeah, so it was a fun time. The Blue Line Club put on that event. It's the first time they've done an in-season dinner with the players. I know they had been talking about doing that as a way to try and get fans who couldn't come during the workday to be able to come in the evening. The next one, I believe, is February 28th at Anthony's Steakhouse, so that'll be kind of fun to see where the team's at that point. But what did you think about the event, Jason?
I thought it was, we're not Blue Line Club members. We need to remedy that.
You'll have to join, yeah. Bridget is a lifetime member because she was named Volunteer of the Year back in 2001, 2002. So
well deserved. So yeah, we'll have to talk off podcast about what I have to do to fix that.
Absolutely.
But actually, maybe you should just tell us. Tell us here on the podcast. Tell everyone who's listening, how do we become Blue Line Club members? I don't even know.
You can find out more information by going to the UNO Blue Line Club's Facebook page. So search UNO Hockey Blue Line Club on Facebook, and they'll have information there. And
is there a fee? Is there a cost to it?
There is a fee. You have to join the UNO UNO's One Fund. You have to do a minimum donation level. And you kind of put me on the spot. So off the top of my head, I think it's a minimum of $50 per year. But don't quote me on that.
So there's a fee. It's say less than 100, less than 200. Probably.
I mean, you can donate more if you want.
Well, you can always do more, right?
Sure.
Are you looking it up?
I am looking it up.
All right. So I think it was a great event. I think it's a really nice format. I know they used to do luncheons and the dinner format is kind of a new thing. I have to say I think I would like that. I like the dinner format better. I was surprised at the turnout. They had a really, really good turnout.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they had more people next time.
Probably. So get your tickets now before they're sold out.
Yeah, you guys didn't get your...
We didn't get February tickets. So February 28th, I think we said.
I'm trying to remember. I think there was a pre-sale, and Bridget was able to buy both of them for a dollar amount off together, but you missed that. Apparently,
we must have missed that because when I went on, it was the same. If I bought both dinners or if I bought one dinner, it was, there wasn't any difference in it other than the extra ticket cost. So the format was nice. We got to sit at a table. We're going to, get a nice dinner. There were some fundraising things and we got to bid on some stuff and a raffle. So that was nice. And Coach had some good words. Mason got up there and had a nice talk. And, I like the fun atmosphere of it too, to see them like gag on Coach he kind of joked about bringing up one of the freshmen, Cothenbutel, and making him talk, and I thought that was kind of nice to see like a lighter side of the guys.
It's kind of fun because we only see them in the kind of the arena of competition, so it's nice to be able to see that. Yeah, I looked up the One Fund here. Minimum one fund, $50 to $249.
So it's not too bad.
No.
So $50 can get you in. You can be a Blue Line Club member.
Yeah, and I think when you sign up, you can designate if your money goes to the general one fund, or if you can specify it to go to hockey.
Hockey.
So yeah, we would
prefer the hockey.
Yeah, we would definitely prefer.
So yeah, it was really nice event. Looking forward to it in February. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It was fun. It was fun to get to interact with the players in that kind of a environment.
We'll have to find a different player to sit at the table at.
Yeah, well, I know you will.
You know who I'm looking for.
Yeah, I know. We know. Yeah, we know you want to sit at a player with player. You want to sit at a table with Tyler Weiss. So yeah. Well.
This kid is gonna he's gonna hate me.
Yeah.
By the time he's gonna leave, thank God I got away from that guy.
Purposely avoid sitting at your table.
So we had a segment we forgot about last week.
Yeah, and a number of people were like, "What happened to that segment?"
And I didn't think anyone would really know. Quite honestly, we forgot. We only did it once, and then we missed it. And I thought, oh, well, maybe we just won't do it because people really never. It wasn't that interesting. But
here's
a number
the thing.
Of people asked
here's
us
the thing:
about
we see the stats, we know people are listening, but I think we still doubt that anybody's actually listening to this podcast.
We think they listen, but maybe they're not paying attention, right? That's like my kids, I know they hear me, but they don't listen to me, and there's a difference.
Exactly right.
So our over-under for this week is going to be over-under number of goals scored this season by UNO.
Okay.
Total for the team.
Okay.
So you start. You get to take the over or the under. What's
our minimum on the over under?
I was gonna say. So
you're getting to that. Okay.
Our over under number, I think, is gonna be 40 goals for the season. Right?
No, we've already scored 40 goals.
Have we already scored 40? Maybe that's what I was thinking.
I will take over.
I'll take over on that one.
We've scored 40. Okay, we've scored 44 goals.
44. So let's go over under. We're about halfway through the season.
We are. Okay, so we have, here's what I will tell you. We have 20 games left.
We have 20 games left.
We've played 14. So
let's go over under 80.
Okay.
Now you have to think. Over under 80 goals for the season.
I'll take over on that.
You think we'll score more than 80?
Yeah, okay. I think we can score 36 more goals.
Okay.
This season.
I'll take the under on it.
Really?
Unfortunately, I think that we'll be under. If we're over, I think we have a better chance of winning when we get into NCHC play. But I look at Duluth and I look at St. Cloud that we have to go to, and Denver is usually pretty stymied on defense.
So you're thinking, so let me ask you, you're thinking like in the second half of the season, we've got to play, obviously the intensity of play changes after the first of the year, and you're thinking, what if we have a situation like we had on Saturday night where we get down, the offensive production isn't happening, and we're playing it at some of the tough conference foes like Duluth, St. Cloud, even North Dakota, Denver. Yeah. It could be tough.
That's why I think if you take the under on an 80, I think that's why you're taking the under, is you're thinking that the level of play, unfortunately, is just going to bring down our production totals.
Right. And we've seen that. We've seen it definitely is a different game after January 1st.
Right.
A lot of teams get a sense of urgency.
Well, and the rankings that we're not supposed to mention, yada, yada, yada stuff. I mean, those teams start looking at that and looking at what they need to do. And, the RPI factors into it, and goals you score factor into your RPI. And so these teams do realize that you can squeeze out very, very small numbers on the pairwise from performing well and scoring a few extra goals.
So here's what I'm going to say. Okay. We played 14 games. We've scored 44 goals. That's about a little over 3 goals per game.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had 20 more games. So I'm just going to take 20 times 3.
60.
60. So I'm going to say 104 goals on the season.
104 goals on the season.
Yeah. I mean, we may get, I mean, who knows how many goals we're going to get. We've given up 62 goals already. So
yeah, well, I don't know. I don't want to do the goals against one. We'll have to say
if I recall
one.
correctly, during our Frozen 4 season, I believe we gave up 96, 97 goals all season. I was talking about that on the Mavpuck message board a week or two ago. So the entire season we gave up, with Ryan Massa in net, we gave up that many goals. So,
Jeez.
so yeah, so I'm going to say over the 80.
Yeah. And I think that's good. I think there's no way that we have success in the NCHC if we don't get over 80 goals in the season by the time we're done.
I think you're right. But you could be right. It could be close to about 80 goals that we get if we only... Yeah.
I mean, I'm taking the under, but I'm going to say I'm not taking too far under. I'm thinking like 78, 79, maybe right at 80 or something.
You just never... after this weekend was really kind of an interesting one because, like I said, you and I were thinking sweep after the Arizona State series. I think you and I were excited. We're starting to feel confident. Obviously, they slipped back into some of their bad habits this weekend, and you just never know what's going to happen, depending on where UNO is record-wise, what the motivation's going to be. There's a lot of things that, still have to play out, so you never know what could happen in the second half of the season, and things get a little tighter, especially as you head towards March. So,
and you never know what you hit. That's the thing, is you hit a hot goaltender, and we could. It's happened to UNO before. We could go in and go to North Dakota or something and end up coming home with 1 goal scored on an entire weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see. I hope that we get more than 80 because I think it means that we can squeeze out some wins. If we can break 100, I think we've got a good shot at having some nice wins in the second half of the season.
Because it's going to be interesting. 20 games left. We've won 4 games so far. If you're looking like normally in the NCHC, if you're in that 7 or overall as an NCHC team, if you're in that 17 to 18 win range, you're gonna be kind of close in the end of season pairwise rankings, which we've mentioned that a lot. But you know what I'm saying? So that could be kind of an interesting. This might be the year. A lot of fans have said, is this going to be the year where we don't make the NCAA tournament, but we get to the NCHC Frozen face-off at the end? And that could happen this year potentially.
We talk a lot about the ranking stuff and the NCAA as a whole, but
we're
actually not in that bad of a position.
We're really
we could have been. Things fell the way we wanted. We could have been in 3rd place if we had won Saturday.
Think about this. We're what, 4-3-2 since November 1st.
Mm-hmm.
We're playing good hockey, a little bit over 500 hockey.
Yeah,
the team has turned it around.
I think they struggled early on in the season. The guys have really committed to putting the effort for the most part, and I think that
And the thing is,
it's a blip on the radar.
They've proven to us that they can be competitive. They can play really good hockey. They can put points up. They can stop goals.
Right. So we're sitting at the time of recording this podcast with this weekend's games, at least for the NCHC done. We're sitting at 6th place we're tied with Colorado College, 7 points in the conference. We are in 6th just because we've played 2 fewer conference games than they have and have the same number of points. We're only 2 points back of Denver and Western Michigan.
Absolutely.
And we're only 5 points back of Duluth and Miami.
Absolutely.
So 5 points back is 1 weekend. You have a good weekend where you get a sweep and they have a bad weekend, or you get a sweep the weekend that Miami has to play Denver.
Sure. We've just got to keep getting, the key is to keep getting points. Don't dig ourselves a hole. Just keep getting points. Because you figure Denver's not going to be last place in the conference, or not North Denver. I'm sorry. North Dakota's not going to be last place in the conference forever.
You got to expect that they're going to figure out what's wrong up there.
And again, it's one of those things where, once January rolls around, a lot of teams start to play with a different sense of urgency than they played with, before the holidays,
Now, the pessimist is saying our next game is against St. Cloud, the top team in the conference who has not lost a conference game yet.
No, and as we're looking, ahead at St. Cloud next weekend, they They got the regular season sweep over us last season. They won all 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough. My niece Lauren is in her second year as a student at St. Cloud.
Traitor.
I don't know how that happened. I don't know why she went to St. Cloud. She's still obsessed with Omaha, but I don't know why she went to St. Cloud. She's actually friends with forward Kevin Fitzgerald
Fitzgerald, yeah.
on the team. I always want to call him Ryan. She gives me a bad time about that, but yeah. So they're a good team with a good stable of forwards.
Yep.
They're going to be tough. And you and I, regular season in the NCHC, you and I picked them to win back in our very first episode
Did
of
we
this
both
podcast.
pick them? I know I did, yeah.
We did, and then I picked Duluth to repeat as the national champion. So I could be totally right on that at the end, which is making me feel kind of good right now. But yeah,
We'll
St.
see.
Cloud's one of the class teams in the conference as far as performance goes.
And it's the bigger sheet of ice going up there, so you
Yep.
have to deal with and contend with that. And our defense seems to have struggled a lot, playing players in space, and there's a lot of space when you have an Olympic-sized sheet of ice, and so there's a lot to be concerned about. So let's get to what you think is going to happen.
I'm going to say, and I'm just going to base this on last season and base this on the fact that I had to sit by my niece who was cheering for both UNO and St. Cloud, which was the most annoyingly awkward and uncomfortable thing. So thanks a lot, Lauren. I'm going to say that we're going to get swept this weekend. I was the optimist last week. You and I both were. I'm going to say we're going to get swept this weekend. We haven't faced them yet. Kind of like the Arizona State deal. The first series may be rough, but I think we maybe get some games against them.
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen him. We have to see him on the road first, which
right.
I think it's
tough.
always harder to see when you have a team that you're going to see twice, 2 series in a year. It's hardest, I think, when you have to go to their house to play them first.
Sure.
I think we're going to both be the pessimists. We were both optimists last week. We're both going to be pessimists this week. I'm going to take that St. Cloud wins both games. Unfortunately, I just see them as being a better team. They play they have more talent. I think that
you look at guys, Robbie Jackson, Ryan Paling.
Yeah.
Good. UNO defenseman John Schultz's brother, Jimmy Schultz.
We'll see them
plays
fight.
For
That'd be funny.
Yeah.
I know, it's college hockey. So yeah, unfortunately I don't think we get a win there, and we go into the break, a nice long winter break before we have to deal with Alaska.
They're gonna have that holiday break
remembering
before the Anchorage series. It'd be great if they play tough. They do the little things right. Don't make a lot of mistakes. Stay out of the box. Don't get frustrated with the interesting officiating we've been seeing the last few weeks. There's a chance.
Maybe this is the series that would go our way for a change.
Guys like Olofsson and Morelli, put some pucks in the net for us. Evan has a fantastic weekend.
They put Spinner with Weiss, and
they could steal some points up there in St. Cloud this weekend, but it'll be interesting to see what exactly.
Yeah, I think it's weird. We both think that they won't. We both think they're going to come home, unfortunately, with 2 losses. But then both of us are like, we really hope we're wrong.
I know. We really want to see that. That'd be fantastic to see, and I think that would really.
It's cliche, but I've never wanted to be so wrong in my life.
I know, yeah. And that set a really good tone if they stole a few points up there going into the second half.
I mean, even if you split up there, I think that's a huge momentum change for to go into the second half of the season. You get Alaska, coming in just to tune up before you go on the sled of going through the NCHC teams, and knowing that you gave them their first conference loss, so that's huge.
And then do everything in your power to try to sweep it home and split on the road.
Oh, yeah, you'll be home ice for sure if you could sweep it home and split on the road.
It'll just be interesting to see what happens. But I think this week will give us kind of an indication of where the team is at after a tough series against Colorado College here.
Can they bounce back? So
yeah, and hey, we're 500 on the road in NCHC play this season so far. So
there we go. Keep it up. All right, anything else, John, before we sign off?
Well, I always encourage people to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Follow Mavpuck on Facebook and Twitter. I encourage you to listen to back episodes of our podcast, which are available on our website, Mavpuck.com, which I redesigned this fall. So it's the all new Mavpuck.com.
It's snazzy.
Well, thank you very much.
Very nice.
And so you can find links to our social media channels and the podcasts on there. And we're getting close to being able to claim our custom domain on the Mavpuckcast YouTube channel.
So 11, you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that we can get youtube.com/channel/Mavpuckcast, because we're really tired of capital U, lowercase h underscore
JOG 325. Yeah, it's really hard, and you're worried you're going to delete a character and it's going to take you to some other random channel. So it'd be nice to have the word Mavpuckcast there. So we'd really appreciate that. And we really appreciate you guys listening and appreciate the support. So go Mavs.
Go Mavs.